Welcome to WSN's The Zone on Fox. Manny Melito, Jerry Mercado, and the MCC this year has been everything that the ADs have hoped for. Close games, packed houses, and this week was nothing less of that. Tell you what, let's head out to a Thursday night football game right here at Lamson. The Kamaica Braves, the Pasco Bulldogs.
The Pasco Bulldogs at Lamson Stadium taking on the Kamaica Braves. This would be a battle. Sean McNeil, 5-yard touchdown run. Heck of a game passing as well. This is going to be Kyle Robertson to Javon Williams, the Magic Man. 19-yard touchdown. He had 2 receptions, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. Johnny Jansen, 33-yard run. The ground game for Kamaikan in full effect, 20 rushes, 152 yards for Jansen. McNeil going toe-to-toe with Robertson. This is a 26-yard strike to Ingram. Hotly contested game. Now Kyle says, well, I'll go back to my main man, Javon Williams. Big 40-yard touchdown reception. Are you kidding me? Late in the fourth quarter, this is going to be Jansen with the short run to punch it in. Back and forth. This, TJ Bamusili, the sophomore. Get on your pony. Come on, come on. Big reception. He'd have a heck of a game. 4 receptions, 108 yards. McNeil, exclamation point, but would fall 30-35 to the Braves.
What a game, Manny.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Kamaikan comes out with a victory, but Pasco, a good moral win. They put up 30 points over a good Kamaikan defense. Hats off to them.
Yeah, as a coach, you can't ask for anything more than that when you're playing tough the entire game. Hey, when we come back, we're going to have some more from around the MCC, including those Cardiac Kids, the Southridge Suns. What are they going to do this week? So stay tuned to WSN's The Zone on Fox. Welcome back to WSN's The Zone on Fox. Manny, Jerry, the Kennewick Lions, and the Hanford Falcons. Hanford coming into this game tied for first at 3-1 in league. Kennewick back at 2-2. They needed to win this game, Jerry.
Yeah, tonight was like a playoff game, and Hanford on its very first drive. I'll tell you what, Kennewick did a good job of shutting down Jalen Devine on first and second down. Here we see him getting tackled behind the line, but Hanford holds firm. Will Bishop is able to crank it into the end zone, and Hanford is up 7-0 to start the game.
Absolutely, a first blood Falcons right there, and they're looking good right away. The way they were moving the ball, how much time they ate off the clock, 8 minutes on that opening drive, and then enter the Lions. They go, they don't score at the end of the first, but a nice throw, a nice catch from Tenacourt to Julian.
Yeah, Caden Julian with a nice catch. He really showed his great hands all night long. They're not able to convert on the 2-point conversion, and right now they're down 7-6.
7-6 on a broken play, but then the offense just kind of wakes up a little bit more, and you start seeing more Devin Ramos.
Yeah.
That kid had an outstanding game.
Yeah, he did. Stretch handoff right, stretch handoff left. Devin Ramos breaking tackles, cutting it up the middle. I mean, he was spectacular tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. On the defensive side for the Lions, Mizey. That kid was all over the place. Defense, special teams, he was making tackles.
Yeah, only a junior, a big kid, but active, engine that just kept revving up, getting in the backfield, taking down Austin Forsythe. Just a tremendous job tonight defensively.
We'll be able to talk to him if you stick around. Tenacourt, they've got the ball on the goal line. It's real close. He dives ahead. Ball is fumbled, and we see a Biggin get the touchdown. Calvert jumps on it. 6-something, 235 pounds. You don't see them score that.
Yeah, he'll be bragging about that one all year long, Manny.
Absolutely. The Lions end up eating a whole bunch of time off the clock towards the end of the game, and they hold steady. 20-7, the final score. Kennewick, big one for them.
Yep, I had a chance to talk to some of the players and Coach Templeton. Let's have a look.
Just to compete. We felt like we competed fairly well last week against Richland and just lost some discipline and let that one get away from us. We talked to our kids all week about being disciplined with our words, our effort, those sort of things, and we just stayed on it, and can't tell you how proud I am of our boys.
Talk about your performance.
You know, I got to praise our line because last week we had a rough time protecting our quarterback, so we gave him a lot of time tonight. And we knew that if we went 3-by-1 on the weak side, we were going to have man, so I just did the best I could to get open and tried to run after the catch. So, I mean, I don't know. We made big plays. Big players make big plays. That was everybody tonight.
An emotional game for you. Talk about like to dedicate this game to anybody?
I like to dedicate this to my Uncle Steve up in heaven. Rough day today. You know, this makes it better.
What's it like coming in here, backs against the wall, pretty much like a playoff game, and you guys are able to hold steady and come out with this victory? What does it show the mentality of this team?
All week, our mentality was just finished. We knew we hadn't finished ending the game as well as we should have throughout the season, and just all week in practice just working on finish, and I think I really carried over in the game tonight, and we just worked hard the whole 4 quarters.
On defense, Jacob Micey was tremendous tonight. Talk about his performance.
Well, he's one of those kids that has an absolute motor. He's going to have a very good rest of this football season, and then we're excited to see when he puts about 20, 25 pounds on in the off season. But he is a kid that just goes and goes and goes. He's an inspiration to his teammates, and we love to watch him play as coaches.
Well, we just preached not like keeping in their backs and not letting them get a bunch of yards and just setting the tone up front so the line wouldn't take care of us. You know, Joe Douglas, he's good, but just had to shut him down.
First time you've been on the zone. You want to give shout out mom and dad or anything?
Nah, not really.
So Mizey didn't want to give a shout out. What's up with that?
Probably got grounded or something like that. I don't know, man.
Hey, let's shout out the rest of the league right here. Southridge, Walla Walla. What's going to happen in that one? 2 blue teams.
The Southridge Suns would travel to Walla Walla to take on the Blue Devils. Jonah Hoe, after his record-breaking performance against Pasco, he had over 100 yards in this one, no touchdowns, but Darnell Hancock for Walla Walla would catch this one for a touchdown. It would be all Suns after this. Connor Grigg to Brennan Kelly for a touchdown. Brennan Kelly with another big game. Speaking of big games, Caden Diaz, 36 carries for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is amongst the league leaders in rushing touchdowns. Southridge would come out with the victory over Walla Walla, 20-14. The Chiawana Riverhawks would host Lake City at Edgar Brown Stadium. Clifton Lozano for Chiawana, 147 yards on the night. Joey Zamora would connect with TJ Avery for the first touchdown. And Chiawana, with not a lot of time left, would need a couple of scores. First, it would be Zamora to Dre Dorton for a touchdown. And with only 13 seconds remaining, Joey Zamora would once again connect with TJ Avery for the last second touchdown. The Chiawana Riverhawks have been clutch over the past 2 weeks. They would come out with the victory over Lake City. The Richland Bombers would host Post Falls. It would be an all-ground attack as Richland would take down Post Falls 20-14.
So Idaho gets the short end of the stick here. Chiawana Richland able to come out with victories. Caden Diaz able to come up with the victory over another great running back, Jonah Hoe for Walla Walla. Big victory for Southridge. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some Big 9 scores along with the record breaker from Walla Walla, Jonah Hoe, and his story. We'll be right back on WSN's The Zone on Fox.
Welcome back to WSN's The Zone. Hey, let's take a look at what happened around the Big 9.
The Wenatchee Panthers would take on the Davis Pirates. Isaiah Brant Sims would rumble all over the field for 16 rushes, 285 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a 17.8 average per carry in this game. Wenatchee looking like the team we expected from the beginning of the year. The Pirates tried to get something going through the air. Max Jones with the touchdown reception for Davis, but it would be too much Isaiah Brant Sims and this Wenatchee running game. Wenatchee would come out with the victory 53-10. The Eastmont Wildcats would take on the Sunnyside Grizzlies. Eastmont, one of the hottest teams around. Darren Hargrove with another huge game. 19 rushes for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trey Thomas from Eastmont would get into the mix. He would have a touchdown reception, 4 catches for 46 yards, and Eastmont would put it on Sunnyside defensively. Ramon Hernandez from Sunnyside, over 100 yards, but nothing much else going for Sunnyside. It was a tough night. Eastmont brought the game. They win 37-0. The Ike Cadets would take on the Moses Lake Chiefs. Ike, without Coney Castle, would say, you know what, we'll just go to the ground. Ridge Harmon with 20 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Brandon Curtis, 28 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Moses Lake would try to get things going on the ground themselves. Justin Simmons, 18 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown, but it would not be enough. Too much of the running game from the Eisenhower Cadets, and they would come out with the victory, 21-14.
All right, so maybe some changes in the power rankings, Jerry?
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be some changes. Hanford was number 1. You got to drop him now since Kennewick came up with the victory. So let's have a look at the new power rankings.
The all-new power rankings, WSN style. First with the Mid-Columbia Conference. Number 3, the Richland Bombers. Good defensive play up to number 3. Number 2, the Chiawana Riverhawks. They have a huge battle with Southridge tomorrow night. The number 1 would be the Southridge Suns. Hey, can they hold that spot? We'll find out tomorrow night. Over in the Big 9, again, back and forth all season long. Wenatchee Panthers getting that ground game cranked up with Isaiah Brandt Sims. They'll be at number 3. Number 2 in the power rankings, the Eisenhower Cadets without Colton Castle. That's right. Number 1, the Eastmont Wildcats. Dominant team. How will they do in the playoffs? That's the big question everybody wants to know.
So we took a trip up to Walla Walla to check out not the Onions, not Drew Bledsoe, but a new hero, Jonah Hoe.
Oh, okay.
Let's have a look at his story.
After his record-breaking performance against the Pasco Bulldogs, Jonah Hoe has been receiving a whole lot of attention. But who is Jonah Hoe the person?
When Jonah was born, we didn't know his name. Like we didn't, we weren't sure whether we were going to have a boy or girl and stuff. So when he was born, my wife and I were just like, what are we going to name him? I know. And then just for her, I think there's a picture there, and she said, oh, look at that. We're going to call him Jonah. And then we said, Jonah Hoe. Hey, that sounds cool, man. so that's how his name came about. It was just like that. And I think it's kind of like a little Hawaiian thing to name a kid after you. So he has my middle name, my middle name, yeah. So it's Jonah Keala, and it just sounded pretty good.
You've been the head coach now for 2 years. Tell me about Jonah Hoe as a person and as a leader of this team.
He's been a really great kid to be around. I've had the great pleasure of knowing Jonah for 4 years through track and in class, but he's a great kid. He's a good leader in school. He's taken classes at our community college, but he's very well grounded. He's got great parents. He's a team player, and he had a real instrumental part in our off season this year of getting kids together to do things.
A skateboarding, guitar-playing missionary, Jonah Hoe has traveled all over the world.
Growing up, I was raised in Idaho. There's a lot of football going on. My dad was the head coach there at Garden Valley High School. I was always, running around on the field with the older kids and everything, and they're always giving me a hard time, just kind of like a normal, coach's son and everything. But there, I just learned a lot about working hard and stuff, and my dad really instilled that in me. So they were always in the playoffs and everything, and so it was really a big deal down there. So I had a good childhood with football and everything.
Tell me about your time in Romania and the experience that you had there with Jonah.
Oh man, it was awesome. It was awesome. So we left. Everything was awesome in Idaho. We were there. We lived in a little community and loved it. But the Lord called us to full-time ministry, so we went, and we took over a buddy's church you know, and the idea was to grow this church so that we could have people to help support the orphans there in Romania. And so for Jonah's deal was he was a skater. That's what he loved to do. So pretty much every day, from the first day we got there, he'd ride his skateboard down to the skate park and just start hanging out with the guys. And then he'd bring them over, and we'd talk to the kids about the Lord. We'd have, ice cream parties and things like that, and just trying to share the gospel with these kids. And next thing you know, man, after 2 years, you wouldn't even know that Jonah was American. He was almost, I wouldn't say he was fluent, but he was really close.
At that point, like when they told us, I had a lot of mixed feelings. I had, a couple childhood buddies I'd always remember, and I didn't really want to leave them. We were all supposed to play football together for my dad, so it was kind of like, oh man, we got to go do this whole different thing. But it's exciting too, though. You're like, I've never been overseas to Romania or anything like that. It was really exciting, but it was really sad too, leaving all our friends and everything.
We tried to just immerse ourselves in the culture, and so that was a great thing for him. And then when we were there too, he actually played rugby for a Romanian team. This is kind of like what I was talking to you about, and that was a huge blessing for him, because we got to go to England and play rugby there, and he was just doing his thing, man, just trying to be one of the kids, and yet at the same time just trying to live life as a believer there, and just living the life of a Christian, I guess.
Oh, it was a really, really good experience. I made a lot of friends from all over the world there. Met just hundreds of missionaries and stuff. And I played rugby there for a little while, and I was playing soccer, and so I was still involved with athletics and stuff. But it was a really, really good experience.
Well, the faith background's huge because he has a lot of faith in the higher powers, with his dad being a prior pastor and whatnot, and it's big in their family, and it should be to them. But he has faith in what's being taught to him, and he has faith in the people around him, and I think that's a huge key. A lot of kids don't trust what's going on in the grand scheme, and Jonah does.
Ups and downs, right?
Yeah, it's been rough. There's obviously some rough patches. I think my sophomore year we went 2-7 or something like that. So it's been hard with just all the seniors and stuff. They were disappointed. I've gone through maybe 3-4 different offenses, 3 different head coaches in the past 4 years. That's not usual for a high school athlete or anything like that. But it's helped me grow. It's helped me learn a lot about football and things like that. And so I thought you can't just waltz in there and be good. You gotta put in the work, and so I've been really trying to do that.
Next week, we'll bring you part 2 of the Jonah Hoe story: injury, records, legacy, and more. Next week on The Zone.
Welcome back. Hey, tomorrow night, check the website, see where we're going to be at. Also, be sure to join us Saturday mornings, 10:30 to 11:30 on News Talk 870 KFLD. WSN's The Blitz, myself, Jerry, Zenon, whoever else we get to decide to, invite in. Mm-hmm. We always have a good time. We usually get Joe Ortel, too, our buddy from Walla Walla, to give us the Walla Walla scoop. What else? Jerry, you're on Twitter.
That's right. At Jerry Mercado WSN. Check us out.
Yeah, and then at Manny Melito. You probably don't want to follow me, but there you have it. So much stuff going on WashingtonSportsNetwork.com, so be sure to join us on that. And, hey, check out these plays of the week.
for three. 67, 67. What a deal.